Right, this is a £20 FPV monitor from Banggood. Great little monitor. This is how I turned it into a pair of FPV goggles at a cost of about £5. Yeah, so £25 FPV goggles. This is how it all started out. Okay guys, so here's the plan. I mentioned hopes to fly the Bixler 1.1, my new Bixler RC model FPV. Well, I actually own some FPV goggles here. They're pretty cheap and basic Eachine ones, but the receiver on them is rubbish. But I've also got this great little receiver that I got from Banggood, which was only 20 quid, but very sensitive, great receiver, and my full review of it on YouTube is linked below. So what I figured I'd do was, getting back to this receiver, which I've taken apart, it's got a Fresnel lens and it's got a little screen at the back. So I figured if I bought a Fresnel lens like this from Amazon, in fact I bought 4 for about 2 or 3 quid, and mounted it at the front of something, look at that effect there, look. I could actually make my own FPV goggles using this brilliant receiver here. So what I've done is, I got a container from a chicken biryani ready meal, cut the ends off, and the plan is, with a bit of foam board glued in there like so, I'm going to mount this. I did some tests with focal length and focal distance. I'm going to make my own FPV goggles that I can slip in this brilliant receiver. Incidentally, you can flip this cover off dead easy like that. So basically all you've got is, look at that, all you've got is a Fresnel lens and this brilliant little 20 quid receiver. That's the plan. Anyway, I'm going to glue it together now, make a start, but I thought I'd show you at the beginning of my experiment. So here we go. Right, so this was step 1. Glue these 2 bits of foam board in, hot glue gun, dead easy. Next step's going to be to glue those bits down at the side, and then ultimately I'm going to cut a slot there so that I can drop in this little receiver just into there. It will sit inside, that's the idea. And the final step will be to box the bottom and the top and fit the Fresnel screen just at the right focal distance from my eyes and from the back so that it actually works. Got to carry on and do a bit more now. Right, so there it is at the next stage. Next bit's going to be to put some kind of base across the bottom here in foam board. That's what I'm using, 4mm, is it 6mm foam board? I'll put it on the screen. I think it's 6mm, I can't remember. And then I'll figure out just what focal length I need. With this resting against my head, I can adjust the focal length by putting the Fresnel screen on a piece of board, moving it backwards and forwards, figuring the exact position, which is pretty critical, to make this great little pair of very cheap FPV goggles. Right, so cut and glue the base on. There you go, it's actually quite a rigid shape in fact. Now I'm going to cut the slot so the screen can drop in. So that part works. At some point I'm going to have to cut this to the right shape to go around my face. But I'm going to get a piece of foam that slides in there with the Fresnel lens in, move it backwards and forwards and find the ideal focal length. That's the next step. Right, well, sometime later, as they say in the movies, you can see that it actually underwent a complete redesign. Well, first off, of course, you'll notice the complete lack of biryani tray. Seemed like a good idea to have something that was translucent there, but I soon discovered actually that you want something that doesn't let the light in. So I hacked that off, did a bit of a rebuild. In fact, I more or less started again, and this is where I'm at now. Shaped the front of this and I've got my Fresnel lens in there. Pretty much worked out the spacings, but then once I actually tried it, I discovered I still needed adjustment by about 1 centimetre, so I've hacked off the biryani box at the back and actually making it more conventional now so that this will slip in like so. And looking through there, the focus is absolutely great. and it looks like it's going to work really well. So all I've got to do now is put it back on. Right, well, I discovered I needed about another ½ inch distance further back to improve the focal length, so I glued a couple of extra bits on the sides, added a bit of foam to keep it snug, and now I can glue the back on. Right, well, sometime later, as you can see, I've shaped this for my forehead, shaped that for my nose, got some cheap elastic, made a little mount for the Fresnel screen, messed around to try and get the right focal length, and as you can see, working well. And all I'm using here is this little transmitter that I made years ago that works on a 1S, but I don't know if you can see there. Let's get that out of the way. So focal length was about right, probably could do with about another ½ inch this way on this to get absolute full screen, but I'm quite pleased with the concept. And let's face it, it also means you can use this screen separately as an FPV monitor when you want to. So I think all in all, for about £25, well, I'd already spent £20 on this, so basically for another £5, bit of foam board, Fresnel screen and a bit of elastic, basically for another £5, I've actually made myself some pretty good FPV goggles. Just one final step on my voyage of discovery making this, and that is you really want it to be dark when you're looking inside here, and white foam board actually lets in quite a bit of light. Now I could just felt tip it or paint it black, although actually foam board doesn't much like being painted, but I've got some black paper here that I intend to just glue on sides, top, and that should effectively blank out the light. Might also put a little strip of foam around those edges there to stop the light going in there. Right, so this is what they look like now. Job is finished. Stuck on some black paper, as I said, to stop the light getting through. It is helpful to have a little bit of foam tucked in here that stops any stray light getting down through there. But works very well, and I'm well pleased with it. With a bit of luck, I shall try it out as soon as we get some decent weather. It's raining again and blowing a hoolie. As soon as we get some decent weather, I'm going to be out trying it with my Bixler 1.1 with the undercarriage, trying to do a bit of FPV. And of course it's easy enough to slip out the little monitor and use it just as a monitor if you want to do that. Anyway, I hope you found this helpful. I'm well pleased with this. It's a strange little project, and I know it could be improved a lot, but it was experimental. If you found it useful, why not hit subscribe and give it a like down there, and check out some of the other vids on my channel. Lots of RC model stuff, plus paragliding, paramotoring, wildlife, and more than 50 action camera tests. So thanks for watching, stay safe, and hopefully I'll catch you all again soon. Bye for now.